Morning, everyone. Welcome to ECE 320, Early Childhood Social Studies Methods. For this week, I guess. So I'm recording this Zoom session here, or this video here on Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. I will continue to do this each week on Thursdays, record the videos and send them to you this day as this is when the course is scheduled, even though you guys are taking it as online. We'll have the option to hop in through Zoom if you want to, if you choose to, and we'll go from there. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to go through my SBC, where I've got things located for the class, what some of the assignments are, etc. Go through the syllabus and those types of things. Give you your one assignment for this week. That you will have. Okay, so if I click on the when you open up this course here, this page, basically you are going to see this here probably. I don't really do anything with this, kind of just the home screen piece of it right here. But the places or the tabs that I use the most in this class are coursework, resources, discussion forum when we have discussions. And then the syllabus tab is important for you guys to know as well. There should be a Zoom link on here, but I bet it is not on there because I don't have it opened up. So now that here you can see the Zoom tab, right? So if I click on that, and it slowly opens up here, hopefully. So internet must be running a little bit slow here today. You can see up here, it's still kind of thinking in regards to wanting to open it up, but there is this Zoom tab here that you'll be able to see on your end. And if you click on that, it will come up with my personal page for getting into a Zoom session with me. I use the same page or the same link every time to open up into there it is. Open up into my online first Zoom meeting. So all you gotta do is click on that. Right now, I'm gonna change this because students don't have access to this page. So I need to change that and give you access to that. Okay, here you can see students with the red eye currently don't. It shows that it's hidden. So I'm gonna open it up and you will be able to see that from now on. And now it is saved. Go back to Zoom, go back to the student view, and there it is right there. Okay, so it's going to say there are no meetings today, but I don't schedule any meetings for each of the classes that where I have Zoom option for. I just leave it open, and that way I don't have to recreate meetings every single time. Everybody knows which time their classes meet that want to join through Zoom. So the first thing we'll look at is the syllabus. Okay, the syllabus right here. If you click on this link, we'll open it up. I've already got it open, so I'm just going to pop it up. But as you click on it, you'll be able to download it. Here we have the syllabus for this course, ECE 320, Early Childhood Social Studies Methods. So this is kind of about teaching social studies in early childhood classrooms. Okay, here are my office hours. At least 1 hour during the week. A couple days I have some more scheduled office hours, but I am here more often than that. Okay, so if you need to get a hold of me, you need to meet with me, just reach out by email or phone call and let me know when we can set something up. This is a 3 credit hour course. So you should expect to spend approximately 3 hours a week or so on components of this course, whether it's reading material, whether it's doing assignments, whether it's research, or even possibly doing a practicum or observation hours for this class. It is here Thursday, 10 to 10:55 in the yellow classroom through Zoom option also as well. Social Studies and Young Children is the book, should look something like this, hopefully, that you will use. And so what's the course description, or what's this class all about? Study of teaching and skill development, introducing methodology, right? Ways to teach, curriculum, global issues, certain computer assisted instruction and management, obviously using technology, different types of assessment, and evaluation for children ages 0 through 8. This class includes a practicum, which, like I said, it will be 10 hours of observation or assistance in an early childhood classroom. That could be toddlers, that could be preschool, that could be Head Start, that could be kindergarten through 3rd grade. Okay, so you will have to work with me if you're not currently working in a setting like that. Let me know what or where you would like to do that, and we'll get that set up for you. So course objectives, we have 6 course objectives. We're going to identify various disciplines in the social studies curriculum, specifically around preschool or early childhood. You're going to make appropriate decisions in curriculum development by demonstrating the ability to promote critical thinking and higher order thinking skills. Okay, so critical thinking and processing, higher order thinking, those are important. In early childhood, develop and utilize lesson plans in social studies that incorporate a variety of teaching and evaluation strategies. So again, working through methodology, working through instructional strategies, and assessment or evaluation. They're going to look at identifying and developing and demonstrating practical ideas and activities that will interest young children in social studies. Demonstrate during a practicum a thematic unit, including rationale to objectives, curriculum, complete lesson plans, field trip lesson plans, interactive bulletin board, bibliography with websites, etc. So this will be a big assignment that you will have or use in your in our coursework or in our assignments, as to create this big or to create a large thematic unit with a variety of curriculum, lesson plans, field trip, those types of things. And then provide documentation assuring the successful completion of the field experience hours. Okay, so basically, that you put in the 10 hours and that you do a little summary of what you saw, what you observed, what you worked on during those practicum hours. Culturally or cultural relevancy activities. So this class activities will be provided that are culturally related. Activities will be geared for Native American studies in the form of social studies related materials. That's obviously a misspelling. The activities will provide the student the examples of future use in a classroom with students from multiple backgrounds and cultures. So we will use the Oceti Shirkoe essential standards and understandings in lesson planning, also looking at social studies experiences or events, things that can enhance the early childhood classroom from a local perspective, as well as global perspective, but looking at a variety of backgrounds, but specifically also geared towards our students and communities here on Standing Rock. Technology, you will incorporate technology in lesson plans. You use it for research. You will use it to upload assignments to MySBC, take quizzes, all kinds of stuff in regards to technology. We have to keep that in our lesson plans, even though almost everything we do requires some form or use of technology. I talk about this quite a bit in our courses, but at the end of the bachelor's program, all students will need to complete an electronic portfolio presentation, basically like an exit interview to us in the department. And so keep any assignments or activities that you do in this class that you feel very strongly about, that kind of inspired you or impacted you. If you don't have any in this class, that's fine, but also continue to think of all your other classes and any assignments that you might use towards that portfolio. Attendance policy, if you all are taking this as an online course, then what you need to do to be counted present for the week is to, 1, turn in an assignment that is linked to that week before it is due, and then you'll be counted as present for that week. Number 2, if you can't get an assignment turned in for that week, you need to engage with me in a conversation, phone call, email, whatever that might be. But you need to be engaged in the class somehow, okay? Whether it's through a discussion post, if we have one for that week, whether it's through turning in an assignment, whether it is, like I said, communicating with me that maybe you're sick and you can't do things, or whatever it might be. The only way you will be counted absent for an online class is if you do not complete any assignments for that week and you do not communicate with me at all, okay? So very important that you do that. There will be multiple assignments each week, 2, if not 3 assignments each week, okay? And we'll get to those here in a minute. Class cancellation, if you guys are all taking classes online class, it will not be canceled. I may not be here some Thursday mornings during this time, but if not, I will send out a video before that. Okay, so if any of you change your minds and decide to do it through Zoom or come here face to face, you have to let me know. But otherwise, class will not be canceled for this class. Okay, technology component is in there twice. My mistake for that. Here's evaluation and measures. So we will have a quiz for each chapter. We'll do some lesson plans for this, obviously. Field observation hours, 10 hours in the in a classroom or the semester early childhood classroom, and then other activities and assignments as we move forward. Okay. Here's a tentative outline of the semester. These are subject to change based upon how things go. You know, if you guys have a lot of questions on something, we will slow down, but you have to let me know if I'm going too fast or there's too much stuff going on so that I can make sure to gauge, you know, how are you doing and how quickly I am going. So as you can see today, introduction for this class, introduction to MySBC, the syllabus, we'll have OSEUS requirements and information. And then next week, we're going to start on chapter 1 because there's nine chapters in this class. Yeah, so we're going to do not a real thick chapter, not a real thick textbook, which is fine. It gives us an opportunity to explore a lot of other resources in early childhood social studies. Here's a link to the COVID protocol for the spring semester for the college. Click on that and read that if you are interested in terms of what happens or what we're doing, what's going on. And then lastly, if you are a student with a disability in regards to a physical disability, emotional, medical, learning disability that may impact your ability to carry out coursework for this class, or assignments, I am the disabilities coordinator, so please reach out and let me know, and we can work through or figure out what accommodations are necessary and appropriate for you, not just for this class, but for any classes that you may have in the college as well. That's the syllabus in a nutshell. If you have questions on that syllabus, please reach out and let me know. Happy to go through it with you. Pretty self-explanatory though, I think, for the most part. Okay. MySBC is where you should really focus your attention, I guess, in regards to due dates, assignments, you know, those types of things. Okay, so here's the coursework tab. Okay, right here, clicked on that coursework tab. All my assignments I will have uploaded here. Right now, you don't see too many. This is a new class for me to teach, and so I'm still working through which assignments I want to do for sure. So I've got some things in here that you guys can't see that I can see that I haven't activated yet. But I've got a few in here right now. So for sure, every chapter will have a quiz. And these are open book, open note quizzes. It's an opportunity. I will lecture each week in not super long. I'm not going to lecture for 3 hours, right? But I'm gonna go over each chapter, talk about it, provide some examples, some stories, etc. But I also want you to take this quiz, and some of these quizzes, all of these quizzes will have multiple questions. They will dig deeper into the material that's in the book. So I won't necessarily cover all of the material through my short little lecture. That's going to be these quizzes. That's an opportunity for you to use the book, use the PowerPoints, and go through the material, learn it, reread it, etc., to make sure that we're covering all the information and material in this class, because it is a hybrid class, an online class. Part of that responsibility falls on you guys in regards to helping yourself learn the material. Okay, so for right now, I've got all 9 quizzes in there. I have the practicum hours located here, right? So once you decide where you're going to do that, we get that set up. You decide to jump in there. Basically, you're going to use this observation form that we've used for quite some time here in our department. So you put your name on there, where you're at, what time you observed, et cetera, the signature of the teacher to prove that you were there for those hours that you said you were there. And then you're going to use this observation form. So now if you're in one classroom for the whole 10 hours, you can just use one observation form. Okay. If you decide to split it up and go, which might not be a bad idea, and you go 5 hours in a preschool classroom and 5 hours in a 3rd grade classroom, then you would use 2 different summary reports or observation reports, okay, to kind of summarize what you saw in that classroom. Okay? And so then when we get to these components right here, please comment below on room arrangements. You can also specifically comment on things specific towards social studies in that classroom. Okay, but you can use the same, just one form for your different hours that you use or that you are in classroom. So if you're in preschool classroom 3 different times for a total of 5 hours, you could jot that down, and then you jump into 3rd grade 4 different times for 5 hours. Then you could jot those down there as well. But just use a couple different, use those 2 different forms to summarize what you saw. So questions on that, please reach out and let me know. More than happy to help you with that. Okay. I'm going to come back to the coursework tab because this restorative justice assignment is the one I'm going to assign for you this week to complete. And so that will be your assignment for attendance coming up for, I will do attendance for this week. So just in a different way, just email me, let me know that you watch this video, and that will be our engagement for the week. So please make sure you do that. I did that in a couple other classes this week because I don't have a physical or I don't have an assignment due this week to count you as present. So just email me back by Sunday, and I can and I will count you present for this week. Okay, so we'll come back to this restorative justice assignment here in a minute. So coursework, we've touched on coursework. We touched on syllabus. Right now, I don't have anything in the discussion forum, but if there is, I will let you know. There's 3 of you in this class, so sometimes with smaller numbers in a class, the discussion forum can be a little bit more difficult because it requires you guys as students to add your posts in a very timely manner. And so if one of you or a couple of you, get behind and you don't get them put up there right away, then it makes it difficult for engagement with all of you in this forum. So I will have some. We will try some as we begin this semester here a little bit later on and see how it goes. But I will let you know when I have discussion components are put up there. The other tab here that is important is the resources tab. So of course here will be all of our resources that we will use throughout the semester. I have all of the PowerPoints located here, so you can open them up. I will use them during my lectures and videos that I use, so you open them up and see them, use the notes, information. And then there's going to be some resources here in the bookmarks. So these are more videos or handout type thing. I will put all of the videos that I make here as well. Right now I've got 3 of them in here, and I'll open up the OSEUS or the Oceti-Sakowin Essential Standards and Understandings right now. We will use these in our lesson planning pieces, but these are the standards that South Dakota has adopted and Standing Rock Department of Education has adopted for use in lesson plans in schools, etc. So just to show you a little bit on these and what they look like. There are 7 standards that they have included, and within these standards, they give you good examples of what it looks like at certain grade levels. So I'm going to go down here a little bit. These are a little bit older. I mean, not super old, but they've gone through revisions. I think 2018, as I said, was the last time they revised them. But the standards look like this, okay? Lands and environment, identity, resiliency, culture, language, kinship, harmony, oral traditions, stories, sovereignties, treaties, ways of life. So you kind of might be thinking, how would, sovereignty and treaties, how would that be related to, or how can I relate that to early childhood education and, young children, kindergartners, et cetera type thing. So they have these standards broken down into easier to understand terms, right? So if we look at lands and environment here, for example, 1.1, identifying changes from historical land base to the contemporary 9 reservations in South Dakota, land base of the Oceti-Sakowin, and analyze the causes and implication of those changes. Still kind of seems like, how am I going to do that for pre-K or kindergartner, or I can see where it might be easier for a senior, to do that. So let's go down here a little bit, and it'll show you. It's got songs related to these standards as well. as well as an extended description of some things that could connect to those standards. And if we go down here even a little farther, then it gives some examples of what these can look like. Okay, here we go. Okay, so standard 1.1 and 1.2. Here's some examples of what those might look like, looking at changes from historic land-based to contemporary 9 reservations. So coloring a South Dakota map, identifying reservations. Okay, so that's something that we could have our kindergartners, preschoolers do in regards to coloring those components. They color that, we talk about it, we explain it, you know, so there are some very, very simple pieces that we can do with our young children to help them start that understanding of how the land has changed, how the environment changed, how the reservations have even changed, you know, type thing. So there are some examples all throughout each of the 7 standards to help us kind of think about some of that. Now, you're definitely not limited to what it says in these examples, but it's just a guideline that you could use. Okay, so we'll take a look at this, and I encourage you to look through this if you have not already, and kind of read through it. Try to become familiar with it. There's a lot of great resources in this OSEUS as well. Okay, here's some social studies articles from NACE, National Association of the Education of Young Children. I spelled that wrong here. And some good articles we'll look at there in regards to kind of multicultural education in social studies as well. And so the one thing then that we're going to talk about today is restorative justice. Okay, and so if we go back to the coursework tab, and here we pull up this assignment, and you will see, so chapter 1 talks about restorative justice, and restorative justice is a term that you maybe have heard, or maybe even schools that you might be associated with or familiar with that they are using, but it is a method, a philosophy of like behavior management for students that is different than the discipline type thing with you know, detention, suspension, expulsion, etc. type thing. Chapter 1 talks a lot about in our textbook that we're going to start on next week, developmentally appropriate practices in early childhood, and some of those practices include justice, fairness, and citizenship. Okay, those are the 3 concepts that we talk about a lot in early childhood social studies. Okay, not about history or geography or you know, those types of things, but around this justice, fairness, and citizenship. So we're going to talk about this, but your assignment is, you know, what is restorative justice? Okay? And then what are some ways that we could potentially use restorative justice in early childhood classrooms? Okay, and so there are obviously different age ranges for early childhood, right? So when you talk about, number 1, talk about restorative justice in general, what it is, okay? And then 2, pick a grade level, right? If you're talking about toddlers, preschools, I lumped kindergarten and 1st grade together and 2nd and 3rd grade together. What is restorative justice, or what do you think it could look like in one of these age levels, grade levels in early childhood? Okay, so you can use your textbook. It's got a little bit of information in there, but go back to your resource tab, open up restorative justice, and take a look through this article here. Okay, so I'm going to talk just a little bit about restorative justice. Okay, of course, there's all these ads that come up when you open up anything anymore. But restorative justice, like it says here, most schools use punitive discipline system. You break a rule, you're punished with detention, suspension, time after school, timeout, you know, miss recess, et cetera, and whatever it might be. But sometimes these systems will disrupt students' educational learning, you know, their ability to be engaged in school and classwork, et cetera. And it might possibly lead to future bad behavior, and it does not provide students skills for dealing or working through issues. Okay, so restorative justice in schools. Okay, so a lot of times zero tolerance is not necessarily the way that all schools deal with something, but it might be a discipline-based problem. Okay, so if you look at this zero tolerance education system, here's an example, right? Metal detectors at the door, police search. You know, again, having metal detectors at a door does not necessarily mean that's a bad thing, but it can be a deterrent, right? So I know schools that have metal detectors at the doors, but I also know some of those schools that have that, there are administrators there, there are teachers there welcoming them into the school, okay? Teacher scolds a student in front of the class. Carlos talks back, giving attention. Teacher waits until after class to speak with Carlos to learn more, sets up a meeting with school counselor. School police officer detains and arrests students for fighting. Student peer mediators and support staff intervene, have the students sit down together, de-escalate the situation. Okay, so you can see the difference between these two. Now, one thing for sure is that restorative justice takes a little bit more time to work through, but in the long run, the goal of restorative justice is to keep these behaviors from happening over and over again. Okay, so restorative justice is the theory of justice that focuses on mediation and agreement rather than punishment. Okay, offenders must accept responsibility for harm and make restitution with victims. Okay, Indigenous people like the Maori have used this system successfully in their communities for generations. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that right away an offender is going to be sorry and take responsibility and make up or make restitution with the victim. It might take some time for that to happen, and that's okay, right? It's okay. So the program is really based on helping students work through some of their behavior issues. Okay, so some practices for restorative justice here. It's going to build relationships between students, staff and students, administration and students, parents and staff. And so building those relationships is important in that school setting. Striving to be respectful for all, opportunity for equitable dialogue and participatory decision-making involves all stakeholders involved in certain issues or things that are happening. Addresses harms, needs, obligations, and causes of conflict and harm, kind of trying to find out what the problem is, why it happened, not just punish somebody and then hope that punishment is enough to deter them from doing it in the future. It encourages responsibility for all. Okay? So restorative justice is a fundamental change in how you respond to rule violations and misbehavior. The typical response to bad behavior is punishment. Restorative justice resolves disciplinary problems in a cooperative and constructive way. So there's a three-tiered approach to this, and I'll just touch base on this. So number one is prevention. Okay, so building preventative measures in your school. Okay, and so having students share their feelings, their thoughts, getting people to be proactive on types of behaviors that might happen rather than reactive. Okay, but having kids talk about, what their concerns are at school in regards to, safety or, even what some of their goals are, right? And helping them be involved in that rulemaking. Okay, so the more you have students involved in rulemaking, the more apt they are to work on, to take ownership of those rules. Okay, so tier two is intervention. Okay, when a student breaks a rule or an expectation, caused harm to someone else, this is typically when punishments are handed out. Here they will start that mediation process, okay, which is usually a teacher, could be a counselor. So one thing with restorative justice, one, it takes time, and two, it takes people, right? So it takes a little bit more time and effort, and it takes sometimes more people to make that happen. Okay, so you try to figure out what happened, what the issue is, can it be resolved, how can it be resolved, okay, et cetera. So tier three, reintegration. Okay, tier three aims to help kids who've been out of school due to suspension, expulsion, truancy, et cetera. Return to school life can sometimes be a challenge for those kids. And typically students coming back into the same situation tend to reoffend or not even show up. Okay, so restorative justice practices seek to reduce this recidivism by providing a wraparound support environment from the start, acknowledging the students' challenges and the accountability and promoting accountability and achievement. So providing a number of people to support them in their reintegration with that. Okay, so that's kind of restorative justice in a nutshell. And I want you to do a little exploration on it. So you can use this link here, this information here that is located here in restorative justice to help you answer the assignment in terms of what is restorative justice and what can it look like in an early childhood classroom. So you can use that assignment. You can use that resource. There is information in the book here as well. But also if you Google restorative justice in early childhood classrooms, you're going to find a ton of resources and information. Okay, so that's your one assignment for this week, okay, as we get started with this class. Okay, due next Thursday at 11:59. Okay? One thing I believe I forgot to mention is that all these assignments and everything will be due Thursdays of the week. Okay, Thursdays at midnight. Okay, so yeah, if you have questions on assignments or anything regarding this class, please reach out and let me know. Reminder to be counted present for this week. You need to email me and let me know you watched this video. Okay. Any other questions, please reach out, let me know. Look forward to this class. I love social studies. First time I have taught this class though, so will be a little bit of trial and error as we move forward with some of the content and information. Otherwise, have a great week. Talk to you next week.